What's up, everyone? You know who I am. I'm Jack Slater, the comic outlaw. Yeah, the man with the yellow ring is about to do his thing. So just sit back, relax, pour yourself a cold beverage or whatever it is you're liking, drinking, or smoking, if you know what I'm saying. Now, we're going to review Superman, the animated series, villains. And just in case you haven't seen it, Superman the Animated Series came out like right after the legendary Batman the Animated Series. And the creators in the Batman the Animated Series, they made it more dark, like gothic. In the Superman the Animated Series, they wanted to make it lighter, like a lot of the stuff happened in the day, a lot of stuff happened in the Batman show at night. So they tried to make that contrast between Gotham and Metropolis that has always seemed to exist between the two. And of course, they had to redo a lot of the Superman villains. One of the main problems that I had with Superman over the years in the comic books is there's really not a lot you can throw against the Man of Steel, especially before they gave him the power reduction during Crisis when he could punch planets. And he had the mental capacity of 3 Einsteins and da 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 da. He basically was just a walking example of God, and he could do no wrong. Even like Kryptonite, after a while, started to lose his luster with the Man of Steel. But they gave him a downgrade in power and making him more relatable, I guess. Where he does have a few weaknesses here and there. And a lot of it is kind of, the cartoon had a fair amount to do with that. Now, they didn't have a lot to work with, like I said. You go down the top tier villains, and then you go down to the minor ones, and there's gangsters or little inventors. Like one of the villains we're going to be talking about, the Toyman. The Toyman was just this big fat dude with a hat, and he did mechanical toys, things that shot, little soldiers that shoot people with bullets and stuff like that. They did him a total upgrade. They made him like this evil ventriloquist looking dude, with a big psychotic grin and with a mask, with this big plastic psychotic grin. And his toys were a lot deadlier. And it made the character cooler. Like I said, the cartoon did a really good job in revamping the Superman characters. Toyman's a prime example of that. They also invented a few characters too, like Dr. Lightner or Luminous. Not Dr. Light, Dr. Lightner. Of course, his powers kind of do the same thing. He's able to control, bend light, change light. There's even spoilers. There's even one episode where he changes the color of the sun in Metropolis to red, weakening Superman because red sunlight actually drains his powers after a while. Because red sunlight was the original sunlight he came from. It's our sun that gives him his power, the yellow sun. And that was actually pretty interesting redo. Let's see. There was also Volcania. She was a character. She controls like a magma, volcano stuff. And she was an invention of the show out of necessity. And also an experiment from Project Cadmus. Project Cadmus was, in the Superman comics, it was a research facility that sort of helped Superman out. They specialized in clones. They were responsible for the foundations of the clone Superboy, Connor Kent. But at any rate, she was a product of that. She sort of becomes a good guy and bad guy. Like she goes back and forth. But she was created and tortured, so that's kind of her character. And of course, they tried bringing back other people, like, for example, Bizarro. Bizarro was one of those characters that happened early on in the comic books. He was an opposite version of Superman. Like he goes, me, no like you. That means me. I think you're my friend. So, like for words like hate is love and coincidentally, it is the same man, Tim Daly, who's doing the voice of Bizarro in these episodes. So I think that's kind of cool that he's playing the opposite of what he's supposed to be. He's like it's hard to classify because sometimes he is a bad guy and sometimes he's just a misunderstood lummox because he's not exactly that smart. And he's usually the stooge for other villains. And other villains we do have. I mean, like, for example, they actually bring back Lobo, and I want to spend some time talking about that because Lobo was an intergalactic bounty hunter. And in one episode, they send him after Superman because he's the last of Krypton. And this guy collects the last of species, and he also ends up betraying Lobo because Lobo is the last of his kind too and tries to collect him. Lobo is an intergalactic bounty hunter and biker. I've covered some of his stuff on this show. He's not really a hero. He's an anti-hero with just a smidge of honor that gets him over that line. Him and Superman have fought, teamed up, and fought. That's basically their relationship. They're complete opposites, but it was nice to have him in there. And I can't remember the guy's name, but it was the voice from Everybody Loves Raymond, the other brother, not Raymond. And he actually did a pretty good job on that. Lobo makes sporadic appearances in the JLA 2, like he made 2, I think. Now, he didn't make too many appearances. He was also in the current Man of Tomorrow movie, so he's one of those characters that kind of seems to always find a role somewhere. I mean, he made an appearance in Young Justice. So he's one of those characters, those hold-ons from the 90s that seems to make appearances despite his bloody and brutal past. You read the comic books, they're not for kids. Alright, moving on. A character that's had a fair amount of changes over the years and reworks and redos is Brainiac. Brainiac has had so many upgrades, so many redos. It was really not surprising when they decided just to do their own thing. And they kind of took a bunch of the different aspects from Brainiac, mixed them together, and then put their own spin on it. Brainiac's a being that collects cities, and he ended up collecting one of the cities from Krypton, Kandor. And since the planet was going to explode anyways, he didn't feel the need to destroy it. He just moved on, not knowing that a baby was sent through the black hole. But that's just one story. I mean, in the Super Friends, for example, he looked human at one point. Then they turned into this big silver robot. So there was a lot of wiggle room. And they kind of made him like a hybrid, like he has like skin. He looks sort of human, but he's a robot. Has a lot of intelligence, a lot of gadgets, gizmos, of course. And he's kind of like more brains than brawn. And that tends to get him in trouble. He's always trying to outthink Superman. But he has really no emotion. Superman seems to always get the edge on him. But it's a really good redo on the character. Later on, him and Lex Luther combine personalities in the Justice League and they become sort of a god. Scary shit. And yes, I'm only painting broad strokes because I actually want you guys to see the cartoons. It's worth seeing. I mean, I know they're over 10 years old now, but if you love comics and you want to see something that's actually better than the movies, you might want to watch these. Alright, from Brainiac, and I've been kind of saving this, Livewire. Oh my god, Livewire. Lori Petty is the voice of Livewire, and if you don't know who Lori Petty is, she was fucking Tank Girl. Yeah. She's a good actress. And she brought a manic voice to this character. She's a shock jock. Superman hater and a half. One of Lex Luther's favorite shows to listen to. She ends up getting electrocuted. And somehow, with touching Superman, she was able to absorb some of the energy around him. And she became a being of living energy. Yes, living energy. I mean, I can't believe it. And so it's just, she was created, just to be another foil for Superman, But she had such a personality, it kind of carried on. And she made a few other appearances here and there. Especially with a character called Parasite. Parasite was a janitor. He ended up getting caught in some toxic waste and became a creature that if he touches you, he absorbs your thoughts, your memories, and most of all, your strength. Which makes him a very interesting opponent for Superman, because how do you beat someone without Superman constantly hitting him? Because that seems to be the thing that Superman does. Hit. Superman's more of a smash mouth type person than a Batman personality, So he always has to figure out ways around Parasite's touch, because as soon as Parasite has a hold on him, that's pretty much all she wrote. And he absorbs his powers, his memories. They do go away after a time. So that means he has to keep recharging, but the Parasite is a very dangerous character. He actually was working with Livewire in one episode. Very cool. But of course, villains betray each other because that's what they do. One gets too greedy, and then the whole shithouse goes up in flames. All right, whew, damn. All right, another guy, Metallo. Oh man, Metallo, the machine with a heart of kryptonite. In this show, he was a former mercenary. And he ends up working for Luther. Luther kind of fucks him over, poisons him, unbeknownst to Metallo, removes his brain, puts it in the robot with a kryptonite heart. And this pisses Metallo off because he liked pleasure, women, wine. He had exquisite taste, and now he can have none of it. So Metallo has all this power, but he can't enjoy anything that he loved, that power brought him. Ah, the irony, huh? But he has that heart of kryptonite, which is Superman's weakness, and later on he's able to fire it out like a beam. Metallo is one of those characters that made a lot of appearances over the time, and especially in different movies and such. I think Metallo's cool. He's had different powers where it's just like him as a robot with a kryptonite heart that shoots, or his hands could transform into different metal. After a while, like it could become a chainsaw or a gun, or it really depends on who has the magic pen of creation. But yes, Metallo is one of the fair ones. And of course, if we can't not have this list without mentioning Darkseid. Darkseid, yes, the Lord of Evil himself. Darkseid was always a fair opponent for Superman because he could beat him into the dirt. And Darkseid had a lot of like victories over Superman in the cartoon. Not like a whole lot, but enough, where he did Superman a lot of damage, both psychologically and physically. He took over his mind, for example, and had Superman lead an attack on Metropolis. I mean, he's done a lot of messed up stuff to the Man of Steel. Darkseid is manipulative. He's evil. He rules his own planet. He's a perfect threat for Superman. But he is not my favorite. My favorite, of course, if you guys are guessing, if you guys have a little checklist and have been going through the characters, you know that I have not mentioned one person yet. And that is Lex motherfucking Luthor. Yes, Lex, the man, Lex Luther. I like Lex. I think Lex is necessary. And I think in some ways Lex is right. Lex, of course, is a very greedy, driven, egotistical man. But he is right about not trusting an alien, malevolent or not. We can't give all our secrets and power and all of the keys to the kingdom to this man because we never know when he's going to stab us in the back. And there's been a lot of examples of that in other realms and realities of that happening. Take a Superman Red Sun, for example. The road to hell is paved with good intentions. And I think that's why Luthor has none. Luthor was also the president. He's made a lot of appearances throughout this show. Clancy Brown's the voice for him in this. Does a really good job of it. I recommend it. He's one of the best iterations of Luthor. I know people don't like to talk about the Smallville show because of what that chick did to all those poor women. But the man that played Luthor on that too, Rosenblum, another wonderful Lex Luthor. Lex Luthor has always been a constant. I think he's a great counterbalance to Superman. The mind over matter. You know what I'm saying? And yeah. Superman the animated series. These are all villains that are on that. And the way they are changed. I hope you guys watch it. I hope you guys enjoy the show. I hope that you get back into it, that you watch Batman the Animated Series, Superman, Justice League Unlimited. It's a wonderful world to visit. And it gives you that piece of Americana, that piece, that little piece that made you fall in love with comic books in the first place. And isn't that what we're all searching for? Anyways, I'm Jack Slater, the Comic Outlaw. Subscribe, man. Look me up. Drop a like, a comment, and I'll hit you up. And as always, I will catch you on the flip side.